for the pledge I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us today as we do what's best for the county and be with us all and our families. Dear Lord, please be with Laura Smith and their family and the Ray Young family. Lord, keep them close to you and help them to what they need. I ask this in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I would like to amend the agenda. There's an item called the title change on the consent agenda. I'd like to move that to the regular agenda so we can talk about it. Motion to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion we amend the agenda.
I second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, Laura Smith is quite ill, and she's the lady that attends our meetings wearing the hat often. So please keep her in your prayers. And also, Ray Young is the grandfather of John Gross and Gabe Bush. So he passed away at 95, and they're at his funeral today. So keep those families in your prayers, please. Okay, here's a consent agenda, and that item in the yellow is what we will move over to the regular agenda. So a motion to approve the consent agenda as altered.
I'll make a motion we accept the consent agenda as altered.
Okay, and I second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now, title change, we're going to do that right away. And Corey?
Good morning. So in the collector's office, Barb has retired, and she was the chief deputy. So what we're wanting to do is move Angela Mayfield to that position. Barb is still on the books. She's using out some vacation time. So until she's off the books totally, we want to put Angela as a deputy clerk for right now. I'm going to make it effective on April 3rd. Barb's last day was March 31st.
Okay, so it dates back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Angela's there. She's doing all the work.
So as opposed, I guess the question is opposed to creating a different job title for somebody, we're refilling.
Yes.
As we're going to have that this next year on several of the departments, where long-term employees are leaving, and so somebody's maybe they're not necessarily put to their paid position, but assuming some of the titles.
And she's been hit with 2 retirements there lately. Yeah. So, okay, motion to accept this title change.
I make a motion we accept the title change for the collector, deputy clerk, Angie Mayfield, and dated to April 3rd.
Deputy clerk 4.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And, okay, and effective April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Okay.
Yep.
And I second that. Any comments, questions? Okay, you want to talk about anything else on that, or? Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, award an annual bid for the Sheriff's Fleet Department. Motion.
I guess we're not. It's already the annual bid. So, do you need anything on that, Sheriff?
Nope.
Okay.
That's what we sent over.
Then I will make a motion. We accept the award of the annual bid for Sheriff's Fleet Department, or Sheriff's Department for the fleet.
Primarily tires and oil, is that right?
Tires, oil,
Yes.
parts,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Okay, and I second that. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Guess who's up next? Hit the ground and run. By the way, we sent Kerry out on county business today, so he won't be here, obviously.
If anybody else wants a report, I have them up here. We do this report quarterly, and so we appreciate having time on the agenda to do this. So this report is for January and February, March, and then into April just a little bit. We have four main staff in our office, just for a recap. Janet Braun is our 4-H youth specialist, and Casey Amston is our youth program associate. And then
myself as a livestock specialist, and Alyssa Bauer is our nutrition program associate. Then, of course, we have head of the department is Jane Epstein. She's the nuts and bolts at the front office. And then with me today is Brandy Richardson. She is our extension engagement specialist and covers 8 counties in our area. So she's helping with being the liaison between the Extension Council and Extension. Okay, so we're going to start off. If you want more details, you're welcome to read the report. I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter than our 6-page report we have. In 4-H, we currently have 201 enrolled members and volunteers in St. Francis County alone. Janet covers 3 counties, and so she's also in St. John and Washington County. So that number does not include those 2 counties. And they try to do a lot of training for those volunteers and teaching them how to work with kids and so forth. And so they offer volunteer training and then the youth officer training pretty frequently. They partnered with the Farmington Schools and the Farmington Police Department to train those volunteers for mandating reporters. County fair stuff is in full swing. Believe it or not, county fair is in June, but we start in January with our livestock projects and do project meetings all throughout the year. And so as a summary, we weighed in 45 steers, 92 hogs, 4 goats, and 17 sheep, 26 youth are taking part in the 4-H market chicken project. And so all of those animals will come back to the fair. Those kids are exhibiting those animals and will sell in a sale of champions. And so we'd appreciate if you guys were interested in coming and talking to those kids. They do a lot of hard work, and that's kind of the culmination of their livestock projects. Shooting sports program is taking off. We have a lot of kids interested in that. We have pistol, rifle, shotgun, and are starting an archery project. And so that's very exciting. We haven't had those in several years. We've just had the pistol. And so it's exciting to have those new volunteers to train those kids. There's been a couple of grants awarded to the 4-H. A $250 grant from Missouri Farmers Care is helping with the food drive. Food drive ends in April, so if you have any canned goods you would like to donate to our office, and the kids will weigh that, and it's called 4-H Feeding Missouri. It's happening statewide, and we will give those to local food pantries. And then the other grant was a $900 grant from the Missouri 4-H Foundation. And what Casey is doing with that is the Youth Futures program. She's working with the homeschool group, and they're trying to prepare kids for the future, learning about college. And just last week she took those kids and toured Mineral Area College. And so it really exposes them. They don't have nearly the exposure as public school kids, and so that helps jumpstart them and get them some education for going to college later on. Right in the livestock realm, we had a pretty big program. A lot of stuff is going virtual. People are really enjoying having educational programs, being able to sit in front of their computer at home. And so we had a virtual backyard poultry workshop and partnered with Lincoln University out of Jefferson City. And we had 106 people registered for that program. 51 actually attended online, and that could have been groups sitting together. But we had 51 people actually connect, and then 2 people in person, and 39 views on our Extension YouTube channel for that program. And so that's kind of a good reach for a virtual program. For the biosecurity grant that I'm involved in, there's 4 workshops coming up. If anybody is interested in livestock biosecurity, please contact me. We have 4 coming up the end of April. The closest one here is in Columbia, and we have basically a training on how to respond to livestock disease outbreaks, and that's always a huge concern, dealing with mortality related to that, and then also composting. And so we have ways to manage that, And so it's helping to train our small producers on what happens if their even backyard flock has a disease and needs to be depopulated. So those trainings are available. If you're interested, I have a flyer right here. If you know of somebody interested, please contact us. The Show Me Select Heifer program is kind of one of the meat and potatoes of what I do. There is 15 producers that I currently work with year-round, and that's going to the farms at least 3 different times with this program each season. There's 2 different seasons in this program, and basically we're helping them develop heifers, not only for themselves but also marketing. And so there's a marketing aspect, maybe making a little extra income with that. Currently, again, I work with 15 producers, and that encompasses about 725 heifers. And so that's a pretty large number going through the program. And that's just what I work with. That's not including the other specialists across the state. And upcoming, there's 6 sales. 3 of them are the ones I work with directly. That'll be down in Jackson, Farmington, and then Vienna. Show Me Quality Assurance trainings are one other thing that I do pretty frequently. I've done 5, or have done 5 this year. And that's basically training youth to raise their animals, knowing how to produce high quality food. Consumers are always concerned about food safety, and so we're helping those youth understand how to produce safe quality product. And so I've been in Washington County, St. Genevieve County, Franklin County, and then upcoming in St. Francis County, and one in Southeast. And so I train about 100 to 125 kids a year in this program. There was a FFA livestock judging contest held at the fairgrounds, and I organized 7 different livestock judging classes to help those kids prepare for district and state contests. And so that was really interesting. We had 6 different schools participate in that. And as one of our more popular programs is called the Grazing School. That's coming up in May. And so I kind of wanted to put that on here, May 16th through 18th at Mineral Area College. We work with the Soil and Water Conservation District and Natural Resource Conservation District, and participants qualify for cost share assistance with that. Randy, you want to talk about general?
Sure. Yeah, so on March 7th, the St. Francis annual dinner was held, and we had a great turnout for that. They recognized the farm family and the Century Farms. Also, I conducted a council education training via Zoom in March. That was to educate new council members or any council members that were just coming in. At the end of March, we had MU for You up in Columbia, where council members were invited from all over the state to go up to campus for a 2-day workshop, learning more about the functions of extension and what they can take back to their communities to help do extension work. On April 26th in Cuba, we're doing a council leadership training. That's a collaboration between all 8 counties that me and the other EES that cover the northern counties, not 8, 16, right? It's 16, yeah. So we're combining those to April 26th. We had 2 dates set, didn't have quite enough turnout for the first day, so we're gonna combine that all together. And then the county fairs, June 20th through the 24th, like Kendra said. And do you want me to talk about the NPA stuff? So Alyssa, our nutrition program associate, has been super busy for January, February, and March. She has had a total of 4,600 contacts. Now, how that works, I actually started as an NPA. That does not necessarily mean 4,600 people, although it's still a pretty significant number of people. The contacts are counted as if she is doing, say, 6 sessions of a class, then there will be, and she has 20 kids in that class, that would count as that many contacts, an individual contact. But still, she says that she has been very busy this quarter and has gotten the opportunity to program at new sites, including Farmington Middle School, where she taught 14 health classes. A success story, she was approached by Farmington Middle School's health teacher to program in her classroom, and she stated that she heard about me from one of her 7th graders who had me in her 4th grade classroom 3 years ago. The 7th grader told the teacher about the nutrition class from when she was in 4th grade and asked her to find out if she could come back to the middle school. So she believes this is going to be a great partnership, and it's always nice to hear those success stories.
Do you have any questions?
Well, of course I do.
Of course.
Is it generally true that eggs from backyard chickens don't have to be refrigerated?
And so it does, any chicken, when a chicken lays an egg, they have a coating around the outside called bloom. And it is a protectant. They don't have to be refrigerated. And they recommend that if you do leave them out, you don't get a week. But I don't know, on the nutrition side, if you ever do refrigerate them or ever do wash them, then they need to remain in the refrigerator.
But generally, we're the only country in the world that refrigerates eggs.
Refrigerates and washes eggs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the composting comment, is that for animals that have died on the farm? Natural?
Typically it is in a natural disaster or a disaster related to a disease outbreak. Sometimes the farm is not big enough to compost all those animals, and that could cause an issue. And so having a plan to where to put that stuff, maybe you can't just take them to the landfill.
Yeah.
So having a plan is a good idea.
Is composting safer than burial?
So yes, actually burying, it's sometimes hard to get deep enough. And then if you're going to bury them, you may as well compost them because they break down a lot faster. A full cow can break down within 3 months.
And is that June date of the fair, is that early?
It's a little early. It sounds a little earlier because of the way the date falls. They always try to hit that 3rd week in June. This is probably the 3rd year they've done that in June.
Now, if anybody has any interesting questions, let us know.
You can ask the kids those questions. You'll get some interesting answers.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Sole source provider, Rottler Pest Solutions for the jail. Motion to accept this sole source provider.
Go on, don't make it hard to win. I make a motion we accept the Rottler Pest Solutions as our sole source provider for the jail.
And I second that. Any comments? I believe this is primarily for bed bugs. This Rottler has the best experience so far with us on ridding us of those issues, and that happens more often than we'd like to think. So we need to get this in the process and in the system. So any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, what was that?
Got me itching.
Okay. Anyway, just a comment, the road and bridge is going to 4-day, 10-hour work shifts starting next week. The sales tax report, we're up 6.35% year to date for this month. And so we're still showing that happy trend. And there's our April receipts for the Prop P. And I'm trying to figure out a way to show a trend in this. So I've this is my first effort at it. It shows that we're up and down on a monthly basis. So we still don't know how this is going to work out. But, this is for, this commission wants this money to be spent on law enforcement, payroll, and equipment. So we'll work with that as time goes on. And it's going to be another year before we know anything about it for sure. Okay, next meeting is April 18, 1 week from today. Everybody's welcome. And other business, now we have correspondence from the Clay Street Road Repair group. And so, now this is it was listed under correspondence. So it's not something we can act on today. We can certainly talk about it and move, move right along. But we can't act on it.
People here, would you like them to give a report on public comment before we get to their petition, or do you want me to submit a petition, or what would you like?
I think they're here for the correspondence.
It's listed under correspondence on the agenda.
Right, but we also have a public, comment. I didn't know if that's what they wanted to participate, or you were just wanting me to turn this in for you.
Well, but between them and Clay, we're gonna have a discussion.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna turn this in then for, we've got a petition that says, "We the voters who live on Clay Street just off K Highway are asking for some of the tax money to be put on the Clay Street. Some of us have lived on this road for over 60 years, and all we ever get is shovel full of blacktop to fill some of the holes. This road is really bad from K Highway all the way down. Some have even dropped a wheel off K just trying to make the turn onto Clay Street. We know there's a lot of roads in this county that need to be done, but our road has been neglected for years, and then we've got about 11, I think, signatures that live, I assume they all live on that road. How many people live on that road?
I believe 7 residences.
12. Now, one of them has 4 children.
All right, so
do I
so
have them?
So you've got 7 residents.
7 houses.
You got the major part of the community there, okay?
And those are, that's submitted to you all. And then I had talked to Clay last week to go over and look at it, and if he would address that.
Yes.
Would you like him to do that now?
Clay Gobles Road and Bridge. John and I, who couldn't be here today, the administrator, we went and looked this road over yesterday and met with Miss Bess. And I'll have to say how they approached this. The discussion with her was very civil, very professional, everything was great. Now, just to give you a little history, San Francisco County has a number of communities in which we take care of their roadways. We have East Bonterra, we have Wortham, Frank Clay, Delasue, Doe Run, Hamilton Town. And these are communities in which we take care of all the streets in these neighborhoods. Now realize of the over 400 miles of roadway that we maintain, sometimes these communities are not our priority, as are our main routes, such as Hillsborough Road or Fredericktown or Berry, our main thoroughfares. So to address their claim that maybe this road has been neglected for many years, that may not necessarily be untrue. That happens in these communities. So we went and looked at this road, and the problem with it, and I can use this pointer, I believe, yeah. Okay, the road we're talking about, this is K Highway, and it goes here, it makes a 90. So this section of road, as in a lot of our communities, this is in East Bonterra, this section of road is extremely narrow, as most of our roads in those communities are. It's very difficult for 2 cars to pass, but that's just the width of the roadways around these houses in these communities. Anyway, this, not only is this road extremely narrow, but there are no ditches on either side. This is a hillside in which water runs downhill this direction. So with there being no ditches, basically the road is the ditch. When the water runs down these hillsides, its relief point is to this road. And it has over the years deteriorated it. Now, as we said before, there's only about 7 residences that live on this road, so the traffic is not extremely heavy on a daily basis. So this road has lasted for many years. Now, it is in rough shape. It is paved, but it is rough. Currently, there's no potholes, but there's not much of a base left. So in talking with Miss Bess, we cannot widen on this side because there's telephone poles right next to the road. And it's almost an act of God to get a telephone pole moved. So we've ran into that before. So we need to establish a ditch here, which there is none. And then we need to reestablish the base of this road because the base is not stable enough to support an overlay. If we were to come in and pave this road, we would be throwing good money at a bad situation, and the situation would come back as the water would deteriorate in the drainage. So we're talking with Miss Bess yesterday. Apparently she owns this property as well as this property and this property here. So what we would like to do in discussing with her, and it's going to be a major excavation, even though this isn't a very long road. We would like to go in and a portion of this, turn it back to gravel, scar fire it, turn it back to gravel, build it up, reestablish a base, then create a ditch here to capture this water from the hillside, install a culvert pipe at this 90-degree intersection to drain the water, and then ultimately overlay the roadway. But this process could take as much as a year to do, to reestablish the base, shore the road up, fix the drainage, and then overlay the road. Typically, we don't expend our resources, our time, our manpower to this degree in these smaller communities, but for them to say there's not been much done to this road in decades is probably a true statement. Now, I don't want this to mean that we're gonna go through and revamp all the roads in East Bonterra, because we just don't have the resources to do that, as these communities are just not necessarily priority on the amount of traffic and the amount of roads that we have to maintain our infrastructure. So, in speaking with her, and now we have, you know, this is our road, we have, I believe it's a 30-foot right of way here to do what we need to do. But when we have landowners' cooperation to be able to make these improvements, things can happen. And it sounds like in talking with Ms. Bess yesterday, we have that cooperation. So I would say throughout the course of this summer, we can begin work on it. I don't want to alarm the citizens to think we're making this a gravel road, as it is currently a paved road. It's not a very good paved road, but it is. But in order to do it right, that's, after looking at it, that's what we'd like to do. Now, one of the statements in their petition was at this intersection, which is a K Highway and Clay Street, and the area where the cars have ran off and dropped the tire off, that is actually a MoDOT issue. That's something they would have to address, and we will be in contact with them to see if they can remedy that situation. But from the center line of the road, it's 30 feet that MoDOT has, and we'll go past that until the sidewalk is there. So we can't do anything on MoDOT's right away, but we can bring it to their attention to see if they will. And throughout all this process, I think we can make this a much better road, but it's not gonna be a week fix. It's gonna probably take around a year for us to reestablish this base, build the road up, so that the water don't stay in the road and deteriorate further. And we'll do all that work. And so that's our plan. That's what John and we looked at it yesterday and came up with. So to address that petition, that's where we're at. With the commission's approval, of course.
To define, he said scarify the road. That means bring in a big machine, grind up the road pavement that's there, and mix it up with the substrate, and then put it back down as part of the base. And then you will build up the level of the road to the.
And at the same time, create the ditches, so the road will be raised, the ditches will be there. It should take care of the drainage problem, then we'll overlay.
But it has to settle.
But it takes about a year for this to be ran in and settle, and rain and the seasons, and it's a process. And we've done this in many roads throughout the county over the last 5 years, and it's worked out great. But the citizens have to be patient and realize this is the process that needs to be done.
Okay.
Do you ladies have any questions?
I'm down there on that corner,
You're right here. Yes.
and when it rains, it all comes off the hills,
Yes.
and I have one big lake across the road from me and my garden.
Yes, ma'am.
And, I told you yesterday that if something could not be done, I was gonna call Randy Hubbard and tell him to bring me a load of rock in, and I was gonna fix my corner.
Well, here at your corner, which you're talking about right here, our goal was to create a ditch along this side and then install a pipe here to drain that water. And this is a low area down here, which you don't see on the screen.
Yeah.
And then run that water there where it's going anyway, but right now it's settling and containing itself up there at your drum. Yes, it is.
I understand there's some cedar trees in the way, and she's offered to let you take those out.
Right there, yeah. And she said those are hers, and they're right next to the road. We really can't do anything unless we remove those. And
That's very-
she's agreeable to that.
Okay.
Yes.
And we appreciate that attitude of you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, your name again, ma'am?
Johanna Betts.
Okay. So we need to just go there.
Thank you so much for your assistance and help. Okay,
Any other questions?
yeah, and this is not something we can act on.
No.
You have any questions?
No, well, not really on that, but I live between Clay and I see on your map, you still had that little short road
Right here?
easter,
Uh-huh.
which has been changed to Brown.
Okay.
And the water comes down that short street and it has washed all the gravel and everything away from in front of my garage and all. And it needs more gravel put on there or something because all my gravel has washed away.
Okay. We can take care of that.
Your name, ma'am?
Rose Warner.
Will your ditching solve that?
Yeah, it should. I believe she's talking about this area here. We could do that while we're there. And what you have to realize, when these communities were laid out, mostly, I'm assuming by St. Joe Lead Company years and years ago, the ditching, the drainage wasn't really done correctly, and over years, these problems occur in these small communities. But they are part of our infrastructure. We do receive CART funds, which is actually kind of insignificant, but we do, for all of our roads.
Would you like to address the fact that you're not redoing this road because of its name?
No. No, we are redoing this road because of its name.
Does it have that name because of it?
No.
No, it is Clay. I mean.
So is he.
Red Clay.
So is he.
I don't know about anything, but it's Clay.
We are.
And he's pretty well worn out too.
Looks pretty good to me.
There you go.
Moving right along. We'll have none of that.
So anyway, but we will be addressing this, and that's our tentative plans. We have it on our radar to do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any, Bob?
Clay, this lady owns the corner up there, but you're going to have to ditch on down, in front of other people.
Probably to here, all the way to this intersection.
Okay. Do you have enough room to do that?
We do.
30 feet?
We have 30 feet in the road. You know, it varies. It's anywhere from 12 to 14 feet wide. So, yeah, we have plenty of room to do what we need to do. Now, a lot of times we don't like to do that if the landowner doesn't want it, but we can if we have to. We try to get along. We try to make everybody happy. Sometimes we can't.
Do you know if you have the cooperation of everybody on the?
No, the only one I'll talk to is Miss Bess. I know she owns here and here.
Well, so
We will
we got-
go
And
through
this
that.
corner lives from where I stop all the way up to where the house on the corner is.
Okay.
And I'm quite sure, since the road has dropped this much,
It has. It
it's
has.
trim burn up.
And, you know, the grass, I mean, there's gonna be some ditching to be done, some dirt to peel, I mean, it's gonna be a major excavation, but it can be done.
And you also have most of them on the petition.
Apparently you have the
Sure
cooperation of
it's
Yeah,
down there.
I was gonna say.
Well, if they want this road improved, that's really what has to be
Yes.
asked.
Okay,
So, okay?
they will approve.
All right.
But keep in mind, this is something like a one-year process.
Yes, yes, it
We
is.
understand that. Nothing happens over.
But, you know, the way you approach this and with the petition and with us coming and inspecting it, we are sympathetic to your plight, as is the commission.
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you. Any
Thank you
other
all.
questions, comments? Now, this is a report, it's not something we can act on. Any other departmental reports or public comments? Dan?
Just had one thing, Saturday will be the San Francisco County Law Enforcement Track and Skeet Shoot. It'll be a fundraiser, Special Olympics, and invite everybody to come out and shoot if you want to bring your shotgun. If you don't have one, come out, we have extra shotguns there. It'll be a good time, 9 o'clock Saturday morning till whenever.
Where is it, the lead belt?
Be at the Lead Belt Track and Ski Range outside the Queen Globe and Volunteer.
On Old Bobtail Road.
Yes.
I don't have one, and I've never shot one, so are you gonna learn me how to do it without Marty?
You wouldn't want that instruction.
We will. We will keep
Go.
I've got a report from the election. We had elections last week, as you were aware. We had less than 10% turnout, but it was a little bit better in some areas that had individual races. A couple things that made me aware of. Farmington won that their wards could not get somebody to submit, so they had to write in, and Vanessa Pegram has won that. She's been on the council before. And then our road district in Park Hills have had a tie, 4-way tie with 2 votes each.
It's
And
special.
one of them,
Special one is.
yes, one of them is Clay. He's one of the 4 finalists on there. We're gonna try to get them all to decline, since they might not even know they were nominated, in order so that the special road district over there does not have to have a re-election for it. Because if they do, it's gonna be very expensive compared to their annual budget. And because we still have to have the 4 precincts open. I have to have workers there. We have to submit it to, in the paper, and, you know, and have an ad put in the paper. It just, we have to send out absentee votes, and they need to, I don't think anybody was really strong wanting to do it. There was like 30 that had 1 vote and 4 that had 2. So now we're approaching the 4 and seeing if they will decline.
I'm not sure that their budget can afford an election.
No.
In some elections that I've seen, maybe 2 opponents, they flip a coin. Is this possible in this situation?
It is possible if you have a 4-headed coin in this circuit. We've got a first contact like Clay. I don't think could actually serve because of conflict, so he's going to back out. So there's 3 there. We're going to try to get a hold of them and have them withdraw. The person that was currently on the board had to resign so that they could run for mayor, so that they could put somebody that actually is interested in, and has been interested. Just because they got 2 votes doesn't mean they're interested at all. That's where we're at right now. Other than that, there's no other hitches that you might find interesting. We have to recount one of the precincts. Yesterday we had Park Hills 3. We recounted 220 votes. We had to count, I think, 6 different items by law have to be counted, and it took 2 hours to do that. And that was just 6 of the items on there. And one of the items had to be counted 6 times with six ladies. They all are good at math and everything. It's got to come out exact, and from 6 times to get the 1 count on the Park Hills tax on it. But give you an idea of the people that are saying, oh, we need to manually count every one of these elections. So you're going to be talking a long time, because you just can't count it once. You have to have 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, and they have to all agree exact. And that's.
This was a routine test recount, not because of a problem.
No, every time we have to test the machines before and after, but we also have to make sure that the ballots that are in one, and you do it random drawing, one of the precincts, we have to take their ballots that we have sealed from the night of the election and make sure that their total is the exact total that was on the counting machine. So that was done yesterday. That's the thing we have to do before we certify the election. We certified the election yesterday. It will be on your minutes next week on the consent agenda, just because it has to go before you to show that it was balanced.
Any other department or public comments or any issues?
Maybe thank the
Oh,
ladies here that almost got it done. The ladies here worked that day over there, did a great job in the evening. And Jackie, Emily, and Valencia, the last few weeks doing all the absentees and everything, and trying to manage. We had ended up 42 different workers that were assigned that had to cancel, so they had to backfill with the right amount of Democrats and Republicans. So we appreciate all the workers, poll workers, because they don't have to do it, and it's not a high paid thing. So we we're gonna re-examine that, try to recruit a bunch more for next year, because we've got 3 elections next year, so.
I've a thought process, and probably a bad thought, but, you know, we always have our meetings on Tuesday. You always have your elections on Tuesday. And I was thinking maybe on the election day, we could bump our meeting to another day.
There's the only requirement for you have meetings is to have the 4 on the first quarter. Up until a few years ago, we only had 2 meetings a month. We can move many, although 24
Well,
hours
and,
notice.
but
if
the
you
point
let
is
them-
that, you know, we could work with
Yeah.
those that way possibly. Now, if one of us on the ballot,
We had one of them work because of the Monday, this, Dave worked there, and Bob went there, Clay worked there this week. We do appreciate it, because we're having a difficult time.
so those days that one of us is on the ballot, we couldn't serve where that, but you could move to another precinct possibly,
If
where you're not on the ballot.
Like, he could serve in the southern part of it.
Okay,
Could
it's
serve
just a
in-
thought and something we can consider.
Appreciate it.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah,
Yep.
and related to that, I'm not sure if, Park Hills City Council didn't have their meeting last Tuesday night because of the election, because at last week's meeting, we discussed the, transfer of section of Fairgrounds Road to the city of Park Hills. Commission acted upon it to allow that, and, I told the commission last Tuesday that, or 2 Tuesdays ago, that, Park Hills would act on it at their city council meeting. Well, they have their city council meeting actually tonight. I thought it was that night, because we met on a Monday, we met on Monday before the election.
Yeah.
So they meet tonight to either approve or not approve this, annexation of this area of roadway. I will be at this meeting. All indications are that they will, but should they not, it will just remain ours. And we'll find out tonight.
One other quick thing, Buckley, Commissioner Buckley is, not just playing hooky today, he's on official, duty for the county.
Okay, any other thing? Finally,
I made a motion, we adjourn.
second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
You did a great